small. Lay a big hit and pass a kick ball. This game is for us all. From Seattle down toward the Keys, this game is you, this game is me. Cats, dogs, and steer, even a tree. This game is America, so sing it loud with me. College football forever. College football forever. Downtown LA, Starkville City. 1 week you're up next, take a dip. Run the rock or let it rip. This game is America. All say, can you sing it with me?
We just stepped on her feet with a hot-tail boot and broke her nose. Whoa, Nelly!
College football forever. College football forever. College football forever. College football forever.
College football is a year-round discussion with these two. Here's JC and Morgan. Mike Morgan of ESPN and JC Shurburtt of 24/7 Sports have you covered. Beginning right now.
And good morning, everybody, and welcome. We are truly just about coast to coast. Mike here, coming from the West Coast here in Oregon, fresh off a game, the Civil War in Eugene, and getting ready for another one in Fayetteville. JC, who has been on the coast at times and is now enjoying life in the Midwest in Chi-Town. Either way, we've got you covered throughout the country here on another installment of JC and Morgan. And at the risk of sounding like a cheesy FM DJ, we're going commercial free today, baby. That's right. Going straight through, one by one, minute by minute, no breaks, up until the top of the hour. We are powered by Advocare, advocare.com. Go ahead and get your Spark, your Rehydrate, your pills that'll help you sleep, your daily vitamins, your creatine, everything, without dealing with Meathead Mickey at your local GNC store. Delivered to your door. Use the promo code Mike Morgan, get yourself 20% off. JC, there's a lot of places to start today, and I was thinking about this. I don't want to start where a lot of shows do, which is the headline stories as we sit here on September the 23rd. The headline stories are the failures more than the successes in a lot of ways. If you notice that, like more people are obsessed with two coaches that seem to be on the brink of getting fired, both from the SEC, Billy Napier of Florida, Sam Pittman of Arkansas. Arkansas just invents ways to lose games. I can't understand it. Billy Napier in Florida, that they just don't play good football under Billy, a losing record, which is more than hard to understand when you look at the talent that they've brought in. And then you've got Dabo Swinney at Clemson, which has been the ultimate failure story of month number one, right? I mean, if we're just looking at it, this is a team that so many people predicted to be playing for a national championship. They are looking at a disastrous season, and Dabo keeps going to the microphone and talking about a lot of things that have happened in the past that were very successful, and it's undeniable. 2 national championships, number of playoff appearances, and 8 out of 10 years winning the ACC, but everybody wants to know nationally what the hell is going on with Clemson with that roster. So those stories kind of dominate because we love controversy and turbulence, but I want to focus on some of the good stories going on, and I want to focus on some of the good news going on, which, by the way, SEC fans, you now have your permanent opponents. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the surprise teams in that league. I don't know if I'm going to call Oklahoma a surprise, JC, because I thought they'd be vastly improved, but I didn't think they'd be this good. And Mateer is the real deal. I liked him. Now I love him. I did not love the officiating on Saturday in that game, and Auburn fans should not either. You've got Syracuse is a great story. Indiana continues to be a great story. Oh, by the way, the ACC is finally woken up, and they're going to go to 9 games. So the fans win when this happens. We have less lackluster matchups. But there are a number of positive things going on in month number 1, J.C. Shurburtt, and you are always a beacon of positivity. So I will hand the baton to you, sir.
Yeah, Clemson aside and their struggles, Fran Brown at Syracuse, man, that's a tough gig. Dino Babers kind of flamed out at the end. You're in the portal era. They lose a lot of players. I mean, their top receiver from last year took off, went to Penn State, and he made the comment like, I ain't giving a receiver $2 million. It has to be Jeremiah Smith. And, they got a new transfer portal quarterback in Angeli. He's hurt now. Very unfortunate situation there. But this guy is 13-4 at Syracuse. And he's an inspiring individual, and he's got a very good offensive coordinator in Jeff Nixon. I believe that's his name. And they're tough on defense. Syracuse has had its moments through the years. We all remember, Quadri Ishmael, Marvin Harrison, Donovan McNabb. That era was really good for the Orange. Jim Brown played there. I mean, so they got some history. It's a basketball school. They play in a basketball facility, but it's or the basketball team plays in a football facility. But it's a tough gig, but it has enough there to where they have a chance if the right person's leading them. And I was impressed. I didn't expect them to go in there and beat Clemson and handle the adversity like they did. I know they got dinged for faking injuries, and that's not something you need to do anymore, obviously. But just to have won 10 games this first year when you had Kyle McCord and shot Miami like that, and then to come right back and look, they didn't get off to a great start. They got beat by Tennessee pretty badly in Atlanta, and then UConn had them on the ropes. And they fought and came back and won, and they beat somebody they should have. And then they go to Clemson, who they always historically have given trouble to since they've been in the ACC, but really rarely won. And they finished the deal this time. So I think that's a very positive story, Fran Brown. I don't know that anybody sat there and said, well, if you go hire Georgia's defensive backs coach, Hughes, you're going to win 13 of his first 17 games coached and knock off Miami and Clemson in the first 2 years.
I had to do a deep dive on him because I was curious. All I knew is what you just said. This goes back to last year when he was making some headlines, and I was like, the former Georgia DB coach. He's 43 years old. He's from New Jersey. He played at Western Carolina. Go Catamounts. Lovely Cullowhee. He played in the league a couple of years with the Bengals. Had a cup of coffee in the NFL. And then I like grinders, JC. I don't like nepo babies. I like grinders. I like guys that pay their dues. I like guys that get jobs based on hard work, grit. I like the stories of, they had to mow the grass and they made like $5 a day. Those are my favorite kind of stories. So he plays ball. He gets cut eventually by the Bengals. So now in 2009, he's not coaching. I don't know what he's doing. This is the part of the story that is not told on your typical Google search. So I'd have to install an extra board, do another triple Lindy, maybe a quadruple Lindy, like Thornton Mellon to get that story. We don't know what he did in 2009. But in 2010, he was a defensive back high school coach in New Jersey at Paul VI High School. Okay. Then he's coaching. He's a grad assistant at Temple. Okay. And he's at Temple for 5 years. A grad assistant, a DB coach, an assistant head coach. Then he goes to Baylor, 2017, 2018, same role. Then back to Temple as the co-DC. Then Rutgers in 2020, 21, again, DB coach, not even a coordinator. Then Georgia, 2022, 2023, as a DB coach. He gets the job, and I mean, nobody thinks anything of the hire. And now he's making major noise. He's 13-4. as a head coach at Syracuse. And as you mentioned, for a number of reasons, that's not an easy job. It has not been an easy job for a long time. The days of McPherson and McNabb and Harrison, and it's just not the same. And so, yeah, major kudos. I'm right there with you. That's a great story. Mississippi State 4-0 for the first time since Dak Prescott was under center. That's a great story. Jeff Lebby's a great story. There's a lot of really good, positive stories that are not the normal. Hey, look, Georgia's good. Hey, look, Ohio State's good. Hey, look, Penn State's good. We've got other things going on that are vastly entertaining. So excited about that. You know what else I'm excited about? I need a JC5 in my diet. I need a JC5 to get me through the day, to get me through the week. It is the ultimate morale booster, and it begins right now.
It's time for the top topics in the sport. We bring the JC5. Number 1.
All right, so Oklahoma impressive against Auburn, particularly on defense, and Materia is playing at a high level, but I don't know, man. I read a headline on 3. It said Oklahoma blatantly cheated to win the game. What should the SEC do? I didn't even read the article. It's not been the best start for officials, and I'm not trying to get negative here on Positivity Tuesday, but that's tough because that play gave them a touchdown, and they won by a touchdown.
Yeah.
You're not going to take wins away. Obviously, they happen, but from the cattywampus replay situations in various leagues to just bad calls, do we need to move to some AI here like they do in baseball with TrackMan? I mean, what could possibly help these guys do a little bit better, because the stakes are too high. There's a lot of money in the sport now, and stakes are too high, I think, to continue to have I know I'm not talking about a missed call here or there, the ones that kind of make the sport legendary. I'm talking about giving another team a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, with a play that's been outlawed, right?
Right.
You can't do that anymore. You used to be able to do it. You can't do it anymore. So your thoughts about how that game went down with that particular instance?
I hate it and this was not the only call that didn't go Auburn's way, incidentally. Now, look, I have no patience for the fan base that after a tough loss goes, they were holding every play. I don't want to hear it. I don't have much patience for that. But this is a blatant fail on the officiating part. And for those that don't know, and you can watch it on YouTube, it's all over the place. Oklahoma's got the ball at the 24-yard line of Auburn. What they do is Oklahoma fakes a substitution on, I guess, what would be the Oklahoma sideline, the near side. Their wide receiver, while they're faking the substitution, actually stays on the field right by the sideline, so well outside the numbers. You don't even see it on the screen. And Auburn has zero clue that he's on the field. So Oklahoma gets a wide open touchdown. There's nobody there. That's not great strategy. That's not gamesmanship. It's a blatant violation of the rules, and the officiating crew doesn't see it initially. Hugh Freeze complains. Now, I'm almost positive this is reviewable. I'm almost positive that's reviewable. I don't know how that doesn't get overturned. I wasn't watching it live. I was calling my game. So I started hearing about this, and then there were some other play. There's a blatant pass interference. There were like 3 plays. I'm sure if I really wanted to, I could find plays that did go Auburn's way. But this is a scoring play, JC, and this is not a hold or an offensive PI that they got away with, a push off. This is blatant. That's a bad miss. And immediately the SEC sent out a release. Basically, it's one of those, hey, really sorry, nothing we can do about it, but we completely botched it. I've heard people say the officials should be fined, and these guys don't want to miss the call. They feel like crap. They're going to be fined in essence because they're going to miss a game check. But no, it's unfortunate. It was just a blatant miss. I'm not saying Auburn wins the game if this thing is overturned, but they certainly have a much better chance. It's at a key point in the game. And again, it's a scoring play. Maybe you hold them at just a field goal there. So it's 3 instead of 7. I don't know how you miss that one. And I don't know how after you miss it, I don't know how you don't fix it via replay. That one is a mystery to me. And it's, as of right now, JC, it's the worst miss that I've seen in a college football game this year.
Number 2.
All right.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Double dose
Number
of two.
A double deuce. You're heading to Fayetteville. I'm of the opinion, Mike. This is going to be if you like points and offense, it's going to be a fun game to watch. I know Arkansas. I guess nightmares of what, the 98 season when they went to Knoxville and fumbled the ball late and should have won when they were undefeated. They go to Tennessee, state of Tennessee again. It's not really in Tennessee. It's in Tennessee, but it's not. It's right on the border of Arkansas. Lose at Memphis off of a fumble. That game should have never been scheduled. This game probably should have never been scheduled if you're the Hogs. But it's Notre Dame. They're coming to town. They have major problems on defense to the point where Marcus Freeman said he had to have a very blunt meeting with his defensive staff, and they're calling for him to take over play calling. They gave up 30 to Purdue in South Bend. They could not stop Texas A&M. The best defensive game that has really Miami in the opener, but it's an opener. Arkansas is good on offense. They can put up points. Bobby Petrino is good at that. Your thoughts about how many points we may see in Fayetteville?
Well, I'm hoping a lot because I love to call a shootout, but Arkansas with Taylon Green and Bobby Petrino, that's a winning combo. They've got a good running game. Green is kind of a Swiss Army knife guy, and really they are 2 awful fumbles late in the fourth quarter away from perhaps having a magical year in Fayetteville. I had this game circled because obviously I thought they'd beat Memphis, and I thought they had a chance to beat Ole Miss, and they did. In both cases, inexplicably, they just fumbled the ball away late fourth quarter. And in this game, this is how you get fired. You're already in field goal range to win the game. You don't have to do anything. They do a handoff, and they get a fumble. If you take a knee, you're already there. The field goal unit, you bleed some more clock. The field goal unit comes out, and you win the game in all likelihood. By the way, never schedule. These are the games that are going to become the way of the dodo. If you're an SEC caliber program, Big Ten, what have you, you're not going to schedule teams like Memphis or South Florida. You're not scheduling teams in the American that can beat you. You're either going to go heavy, like a non-con game against a top 20 opponent, where if you win, you're elated. And if you lose, well, you lost to a really good program. Or you're going to play Sisters of the Poor. You're lining up Western Carolina, throwback, Coley. You're lining up FCS opponent or the worst MAC team you can find. Eastern Michigan, come on down. You are not playing games like this if you're Arkansas. There's nothing to gain, and it can get you fired. And in terms of getting fired for Sam Pittman, six-pack Sam, as I like to call him, I love Sam. I root for Sam. I do. I don't mind telling you, I root for certain coaches. But his record in one-score games, JC, is abysmal. It's how you get fired. Because what that says is there's enough talent there to compete. But coaching has to be a major factor in the fourth quarter. And one way or another, they find ways to lose games in the fourth quarter. So to circle back to this game that you brought up in the mighty JC5, they need to win it. Arkansas needs to win it. And Notre Dame, if they lose it, they're completely out of the playoff. I think a 10-2 Notre Dame team can still go to the playoff. I think a 9-3 Notre Dame team without a conference championship game, no chance.
I'll tell you this. Here's who needs to be fired too in Arkansas. Whoever during the Sam Pittman era decided it's a good idea to go at BYU, Cincinnati at home, and Liberty at home when they had Hugh Freeze in the same season in 2022, then schedule Memphis and Notre Dame. I mean, I don't get it. You're in the SEC, man. There's one game is cool, but then you have no business going to Provo and Memphis and play. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Give them a chance. It's crazy.
To use a what's become a very hackneyed expression, it's malpractice. To do that to your coach, and I'm assuming he had some input, it's malpractice. Sam Pittman, incidentally, in one-score games at Arkansas, is now 7-19. 7-19 in one-score games. That, my friends, is how you get, as Dick Vitale used to say, the Ziggy. Number three.
All right, now an apology to all Indiana fans, football fans everywhere, because I was poking my chest out, thought the Illini would go in there and whoop them up pretty good, thought they were overrated, laughed. I was wrong, dude. Very, very, very wrong. Final score, Indiana 63, Illinois. That was playing good football heading in.
Yeah.
Remember the win at
Yeah.
Duke and all that? 10. I think Fernando Mendoza, their quarterback that they swiped from the Cal Bears, which, by the way, let me down and got shut out by San Diego State this past weekend after I bragged on them. They're talking Heisman. He's looking good. He's probably an upgrade over Roark from last year, for being honest. But 63-10, they just if you get in a game with them and they start to beat you, they're going to beat the snot out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts about Indiana so far? Because they go to Iowa this weekend. That's not a easy place to play. So they may come back down to earth. But I owe everybody an apology because they appear to be legit, maybe even more legit than last year.
I don't think you're alone on that one. I think a lot of people, first off, some people don't have a tolerance for Curt Cignetti. He tends to run his mouth a little bit. He's very arrogant. A lot of people don't like him. I respect him. I will say that. I respected him at James Madison, and it's undeniable the job he has done. Indiana, over the last 2 years, what they have done in the Big Ten, and I realize we can go back to their conference schedule hasn't been nearly as strong as Ohio State or Oregon or Michigan or Penn State. I got it. But Indiana's been a dumpster fire for how long? I mean, that's a really difficult job. It's always been a really difficult job. It's a coach killer job. No one can last there particularly long before they get canned. And the fact that we're talking about Indiana, and it's basically a football school now, right? The fact that they are doing what they're doing, he's done a tremendous job. I don't know how you could have seen that blowout coming. I mean, everybody's been high on Illinois, right? A win for Indiana? Sure. An absolute beatdown? No, did not see that coming.
Number 4.
Will Jimbo Fisher coach again, and would he be a good fit at the Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University, also known as Virginia Tech?
Love that. I think Jimbo is determined to coach again. This is where you have to understand some people are wired just differently than others. How many of us, if we were sitting on, I mean, $75 million was just the buyout. He might be worth over 100. You know, I mean, in total assets, in total income, I'm guessing Jimbo Fisher is worth over $100 million, unless he got involved in like the wrong Ponzi scheme or, he gave his money to Bernie Madoff or something. He is filthy rich. He doesn't need it. Now he's got a plush TV job to kind of scratch that itch. It's amazing how better coaches become when they're on TV. So he's with the ACC network. He could just ride that into the sunset to keep him occupied. When the wife says, we need you to get out of the house a little bit more. But I think he genuinely wants to coach again. Some of these guys are wired that way. They're not happy unless they are on the sideline. So I've heard some of the names for Virginia Tech. I don't think Virginia Tech is a job that is going to I just don't think the job is what it was. I think that the job now is at the point where Virginia Tech is viewed as one of these programs that has the resources now are not commensurate with their competition. Geographically, it's a tough place from a market standpoint and getting NIL dollars and what have you. Now, everybody wants what Texas Tech has. They want the Matador Club. They want a billionaire to. I don't know if that exists for the Hokie Nation. So I don't know what kind of Shane Beamer is going to be rumored. We've talked about that on other shows. He's not going to Virginia Tech. I don't see it. And some of the other names have been kind of what I would call non-plus. I think Jimbo's in play there. To be honest, I think Jimbo's in play for a couple jobs. Look, Jimbo, say what you want about A&M. Nobody has consistently won 10 games at A&M. You go back to Jimbo at Florida State, won a national title, played for another. You go back to his days as an OC, was always one of the better offensive coordinators in college football. I can't sit here and tell you that Jimbo Fisher is not still a commodity in some circles. Now, is he going to get an elite job? No. The stench of what happened at Texas A&M, it's still there. But I think overall, he should be in play for a job like that. I think you could certainly do worse than Jimbo Fisher is my point.
Yeah, and I think you could do worse than Virginia Tech. I mean, it's still a big school with a lot of alums that cares about football. Geography hurts them. They are making a $200 million investment in athletics, according to them. He's from Clarksburg, West Virginia, which is 3 hours and 40 minutes from Blacksburg. So it's his neck of the woods. I think it would make sense. I mean, I really do. I also think he's a good enough recruiter to get in there and figure it out and get some players in there through the portal otherwise. So I actually like the fit. I actually like the fit there.
Number 5.
All right, you mentioned Texas Tech. The number one, I guess it got lost on me. They throw tortillas in the stands. Did you know that that's what their fans do? Tortillas. They
At where?
At Texas Tech.
At Texas Tech. Yeah, love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But anyway, they were in Salt Lake City.
A lot of Tex-Mex out there.
Throwing all that around, man. And look, they're for real. And they had a backup quarterback coming there. And I know the Utah quarterback was a little banged up, and maybe we didn't see the best Utes team. That's another one I was pretty confident Utah would win. But, man, Texas Tech on defense, they're good. They've got athletes and players. And then their backup quarterback came in and played his butt off.
How about that? I had a couple backup quarterbacks shine this weekend.
Yeah, I'm buying Texas Tech now.
Yeah.
I know you have been for a while, but your thoughts, because you also saw Arizona State earlier this year. Now you're high on them too. But,
yeah,
man, I like Texas Tech a whole lot after watching what they did.
I do too. I think they're the team to beat in the Big 12, which, as we always talk about on this show, is the most unpredictable conference left in college football, where you typically have a handful of teams, if not more, that have a chance of winning the league. I think Texas Tech and Coach McGuire, they got something pretty good going on there. Now, I don't know if anybody goes undefeated in that league, but man, that was a statement win. It's also a kind of a statement as to what's going on in Salt Lake City. Used to be where at death taxes and Coach Whittingham was going to beat you on the line of scrimmage. They got beat down on the line of scrimmage by Texas Tech. They don't seem to, and they didn't have that mojo last year either in a 5-7 campaign. So I'm a little curious as to what's going on in Utah. But no, I'm bullish on the Red Raiders, JC. I'm bullish on the Fighting Pat Mahomes, and I think they've got a good chance of winning that league and getting into the playoff. Guns up in Lubbock.
I think that's it.
Is that 5?
Yes,
Wow,
sir.
we just did that tempo. We just did that so ultra fast. Nice job. Give kudos to Alex, our filling in for Mad Dog today, doing a little double duty. We appreciate him taking the time and helping us out here on the show. Well, while we've got some time, let's go to chat row a little bit, shall we? A couple good mornings out there. We always love those for inspiration. Harrison says Arkansas just seems cursed sometimes. I feel for that program and fan base. Yeah, they are cursed. They're always good enough to win some big games and compete to win some big games. But man, oh man, I don't know if there's a team more snake bit in college football the last 5 years than the Razorbacks. We'll see if they can exercise the demons against Notre Dame. Justin says, "Good morning, gents. Indiana and Coach Sig may have finally convinced me. I think they've convinced a lot of people.
Mhm.
I think they have." Billy Michael says Billy is well under 500. Is that Billy Napier, or is that the Billy he's talking about?
Yeah.
Napier is under 500. So if it is Napier he's talking about, you're absolutely right, Michael. Billy is, excuse me, yeah, Michael. Billy is under 500, and
One,
it's just a matter of time before that move is made.
I
On top,
you can't go any other direction, man. I mean, you can't. I mean, I thought during the offseason, I finally started buying them after we had Andy Staples on because I started thinking about the O line and Jaden Ball and how effective that could be. I didn't expect the passing game to be bad. And then so I started buying them, but I also thought, I shall tell you a name of a coach at a similar program by the name of Jeremy Pruitt. In when was it? What 20? It was 2019. They were kind of struggling. Hell, he's gonna get fired. He's gonna get fired. And they ran off like 5 in a row and went 8-5. And everybody's like, oh yeah, he's gonna turn it around. McDonald's bags happened the next summer. So did the pandemic. They won their first 2 games during the pandemic year, lost 7 in a row. Then beat Vandy at the end. Vandy was done that season. I went 3-7 and he was out. So sometimes a guy will peak a little bit and then it's kind of the same old stuff. And I mean, it's offensively, it's worse than it's ever been, under Napier. And the schedule is tough, but man, if you're the coach at Florida, you need to score points, and they're not doing it.
they're not doing it. They look undisciplined. They still make a ton of mental errors. Again, sometimes it's not just that you lose, it's how you lose. They lose ugly. They don't score a lot of points, silly penalties, lack of execution. And, and I need to come up with a term for our glossary on this, JC, because I've talked about it so much. A lot of times a head coach is so all in on a quarterback recruit that the two are tied together. Like you're going to sink or swim with that quarterback. He is going to sink with DJ Lagway. The kid is just not that good at this point. Footwork bad, decision making bad. He didn't work basically all off season with his shoulder. Maybe that will be a mitigating circumstance for him. But I think there was a time where a number of people there thought, "Oh, we can't fire Billy Napier because then we lose DJ Lagway." Right now, a lot of that fan base is calling for the backup quarterback anyway. So I don't know what the future is there with Lagway. I do think you're looking at a coaching hire, and then that opens up the floodgates to all these names from Lane Kiffin. I mean, you have some people going on radio shows saying John Gruden, which is completely baseless, but anybody can throw out a name, right? The Eli Drinkwitz name is going to be floated a bunch. And anytime you've got an SEC school trying to poach another SEC school of its head coach, that's always a good headline. And a lot of stuff out there. It's going to be extremely intriguing the rest of the way over there. That is for sure. Harrison says Clemson is the most shocking team in the country so far this year. As a fan of their rivalry or rival team, even I am beyond surprised of their output through the third of the season. Harrison, I think everybody is. I don't think anybody saw Clemson being and I know Dabo will take objection to this term, but it's a disaster right now. When you are picked to play for a national championship and you come out of the gate 1-3, that's disastrous. No apologies necessary for the loss to LSU. That was a competitive game, and LSU might be the best team in the country, certainly one of them. But the rest of the story there, as it goes in Death Valley, not good.
Yeah, I think the thing is they haven't a lot to feel good about. You lose to LSU. Troy comes in and had the delay and down 16-0, had to have a furious rally to beat them. That didn't inspire any confidence. There's no shame in losing to Georgia Tech on the road. I think a lot of folks picked that as an upset this year. Early in the season.
Correct, yeah.
Haynes King at least has part of his arm and leg right now. Mm-hmm. he takes a lot of shots. And Georgia Tech's a good football team, and they were kind of due. But I think what most expected was, all right, 1-2, they're going to beat Syracuse, and then it goes open date, North Carolina, Boston College, SMU, which isn't all that good, really till you get to Florida State and Louisville later this year. Louisville's on the road, I believe, on a Friday night, and then South Carolina at the end. You're like, and I still think Clemson's probably going to run off several wins. I mean, that's just the nature. Nobody expected, though, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, fool me 4 times, and it's a problem. And no, I mean, for the life of me, man, again, I was wrong a lot last weekend. I did not expect. I would have bet a sizable amount of money that Clemson wins that game, even when they were down. They were down 24-7 in the first half. I'm listening to the Syracuse broadcast on Sirius XM. They had one serious guy and one complete homer, which was great. It was awesome. They were just in shock. Well, we know Clemson's going to come back pretty soon. Yes, that's right. The playoff guys, that's right, Scotty. And Scotty's like, well, I don't hope they don't, Yeah, I'm like, yeah, thank you, Scotty. It was amazing. Yeah. But they were stunned. I mean, I was too. I didn't. I mean, Syracuse always plays them tough. Clemson always finds a way to win. I was like, they're down 24-7. They'll win this game 31-24, something like that. And they never did. Never woke up. So that's an issue. People are going to get after Dabo and all that, but I don't think he's getting fired.
I don't think he's getting fired, but he sounds like a guy who just wouldn't mind being somewhere else. And there's a coaching axiom that you hear a lot in the pros. Eventually, they just start tuning your voice out, which is why a change of scenery is often needed. I'm not saying that is or isn't the case with Dabo Swinney, but all the BYOG, bring your own guts, and I'm not a Dabo hater, by the way. A lot of people hate on Dabo for a number of different reasons. I'm not that guy. I have much respect for what he's done, but I do feel like that the freshness of that connection that he had with his players at Clemson, it's lost a bit. And this was supposed to be the team that recaptured it. Like, oh, yeah, no, and he went through a dip where he didn't have receivers, didn't have elite. Oh, now he does. And I for the life of me, I just don't see Cade Klubnik as an elite quarterback, but I haven't seen that in 3 years. And I keep thinking someone's going to prove me wrong. Cade Klubnik is going to do it, and he just hasn't. Steven, who wins Georgia and Alabama? We haven't talked about this weekend slate, and in the closing minutes, Notre Dame, Arkansas, Southern Cal, Illinois, LSU, Ole Miss, Auburn, Texas A&M. You mentioned Indiana, Iowa, sneaky good. Oregon, Penn State. I just had Oregon. They're loaded, but so is Penn State. We're going to learn a lot about those two teams in that game. And then the marquee game of the night will be the rematch of last year's epic tilt, Alabama, Georgia. So to answer Steven's question, I put all the pressure on JC.
I feel like Georgia's due, and Bama struggled on the road. So, look, great job beating Louisiana Monroe, and great job beating who was it? Wisconsin, which is terrible.
Yeah.
There's a lesson to be learned. Don't get away from how your program wins if you're going to go make coaching changes. Because
that's right.
Luke Fickell's a good coach, but he's just not a fit there because they have one way to win at Wisconsin. I think Alabama's probably going to put some points on the board. Georgia's defense is young, but I like the way their offense is playing, and Alabama doesn't play much defense on the road under DeBoer outside of one game against LSU. So I think Georgia takes them this time. I really do. It's going to be close and probably an exciting back and forth game, but I'll go with the Dogs.
I made a pact on this show 2 weeks ago. If Georgia went into Knoxville, won that game, I was going to go back to the default button. When in doubt, just pick Georgia. I'm picking Georgia, and I'm picking Georgia to win the SEC. I don't think it's one of Kirby's most talented teams, but there's just something about Georgia. They know how to win games like this. I'll take the Dogs. Micah says it actually seems like successful teams early in the year are veteran teams with very college-level quarterbacks. I feel like NFL talent is not as necessary now. Well, you might be onto something, Micah, because I've talked about this in the SEC. All the quarterbacks that were getting the preseason hype as this guy's a first-round pick and that guy's a first-round pick, none of them are off to good starts. And the guys that people thought were just average ham and eggers, the Joey Aguilars, the Gunnar Stocktons, I think most people thought Mateer would be good, although a lot of people said, yeah, it's Washington State who they play. He's really good. I don't care who they played. It's been a little bit bizarre world. It's been a little bit upside down. And meanwhile, the top names that everybody knows have not exactly shined here in the early part of the season. Eddie, Mike and JC, Eddie here from Conway, 89 graduate of SC. Found you recently by listening to Mike keeping Kornblut straight. That's not easy to do, Eddie. We'll join the channel soon. Well, thank you, Eddie. We love having you. I'm scrolling through. Daryl says, agree, JC, Maryland beat Wisconsin. What part is that?
Wisconsin jacked Maryland's starting quarterback last year for $1.2 million.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they got Malik Washington, a freshman, playing quarterback at Maryland. Maryland was supposed to be the worst team in the Big Ten. They're 4-0. Now, is that going to hold? Don't know. But very nice win by Mike Loxley, who a lot of people thought may be on the hot seat this year. But they're off to a good start, and certainly some cathartic victory there in Madison.
No doubt. We promised it would be rapid paced. It has been rapid paced. JC, some final thoughts.
Oh, looking forward to this slate of games this weekend. Another tricky game to look at. Florida State at 3-1 Virginia on a Friday night. I'm old enough to remember that Florida State won every game in the ACC until one night they went to Charlottesville and took an L.
Remember who lit up for the Cavs that night?
Was it Sean Moore, Terry Kirby, those guys, or was it a different?
It was the birth of Tiki Barber.
Tiki Barber, dude.
Tiki
it was
off.
After that team. Yeah, because Florida State, when they had Sean Moore, Florida State wasn't even in the league yet. But that's a tricky game. LSU Ole Miss is going to be fascinating because one team's scoring a bunch. You can't stop guys, and the other team can stop everybody, but hadn't scored a whole lot. Auburn, Texas A&M. Can Auburn bounce back? I think A&M, were they off this past week or they played nobody? It's in Aggie land. Auburn's really good out there.
Yeah.
Historically, I think they have a winning record, so that's interesting as well.
Jackson Arnold took 10 sacks in that Oklahoma game. At some point,
they're coming after you, man.
Yeah.
Oklahoma. They don't.
Oh, yeah. No, Venables can coach D.
Yeah, he's going to come after you.
People that wrote the obit on Brent Venables, no, he can coach. He can coach defense, and once you get players in there, I think Oklahoma will be fine. And the new trend in college football, if you can do it, it's not easy, to get the quarterback and the OC package deal, kind of like Pavia and Kill and those guys from New Mexico State. Like if you can get both, that's a good way to do it. What's a good way to hear this particular podcast that is presented and powered by Advocare?
Yeah, later this afternoon, it's going to be up on Spotify, iHeart. You got Apple, of course, Google, and then also collegefootballforever.com. You can get all of our episodes. Also on YouTube, youtube.com/@collegefootballforeverchief or @Chief Sports South Carolina. The Chief Sports app also is free to download. You can get this podcast and a lot of other great content. It's on the App Store and also on Google Play.
Awesome. Hey, thanks again for Alex filling in for the Mad Dog. And JC, as always, thank you for another great installment of JC and Morgan. We will see you next Tuesday, everybody. So long for now. Hope your team wins this weekend.